How many of you guys today turned on your sink and dirty water came out? Or turned on your bathtub to find murky water running over you? I know that we can all say that we are fortunate enough to have clean water to drink, to cook with, and to shower with. But not everybody is this lucky. Nearly 1,000 children under the age of 5 die every day from diseases and many different causes because of contaminated water, poor sanitation, and improper hygiene. This little girl right here, along with thousands of others, have to make a 6-kilometer walk each day to get water that isn't even clean or safe to drink. I don't know about you guys, but I would not want to make this 4-mile walk to get water that might kill me. But this is their reality. They must make this journey every day. But World Vision is an organization that is using great efforts to put an end to this dangerous walk. World Vision has many programs to help raise the poor out of poverty. And today I want to explain to you and highlight the huge impact that World Vision makes on these children all over the world through their global 6K run for clean water. I will do this by explaining what World Vision is, how it originated, what the global 6K is, and what they have accomplished through this race. World Vision is a Christian organization that believes that Jesus' love is the center of everything. They display this by following his example to show unconditional love to the poor and oppressed, and serving every child they can, of any faith or none. World Vision believes that the global water crisis can be solved within our lifetime, and that is why they are focused on providing clean water to every man, woman, and child in every community that they work in, including the most vulnerable populations and the hardest to reach places. The idea behind World Vision began in 1947 when Reverend Pierce met a battered and abandoned child named White Jade while on a trip to China. Instead of just leaving White Jade to survive off of the little she had in this developing country, he asked the caregiver, "What are you going to do about her?" And he donated his last $5 to this child and promised that he would send $5 every month to sponsor this child. After this single encounter, he began building this organization that is dedicated to helping the world's children. 3 years later, in 1950, World Vision was born, and the first child sponsorship program began that helped thousands of orphans that were left at the end of the Korean War. This organization works in all sorts of different countries, and not only works with water, but also emergency relief. In 1970s, World Vision developed an emergency relief division that now helps with many disasters, including the hurricanes that we recently had in Puerto Rico, Texas, and Florida. In 1970s, they also started addressing the community's needs, such as sanitation, education, and clean water. The Global 6K is a 3.72-mile walk or run that helps raise money to bring clean water to people in these countries. Everyone who signs up to participate in this run pays a $50 entrance fee, and this money will go towards helping one child gain access to clean water and not have to walk this long and dangerous journey. This child will now have a significantly better life. They will be free from the deadly diseases caused by the clean water, and these children will be liberated from having a life spent gathering dirty water, and the door to education and a promising future will now be open to them. The Global 6K is an event that happens all over the world, and its participation will only continue to grow as the knowledge of it increases. The global 6K began as a single event, but has now grown into a huge a huge event that impacts the lives of millions of children around the world. Because of World Vision's efforts and the Global 6K, in 2015, every single day, 4 new schools were reached with clean water. That adds up to about 2.3 million people who were given clean water. On top of that, in May 2017, over 28,000 people walked around the globe and participated in the Global 6K to bring life-changing clean water to about 31,000 people in need. This number will only continue to grow. In an interview, Hugh Jackman, a World Vision ambassador, was asked about what he was doing, and he said that this was a great way for people around the world to help to change the prospects of not just one, but an entire community. And not just for now, but for the entire future. This is not just an event that helps one person, but it helps to change the life of the community forever. As Rusty Funk, the National Director of Team World Vision, said, "The Global 6K is a one-day event that brings people together and unites them for one amazing cause, clean water. What could be better than walking together to help provide clean water for children in need? Every step that we take together is a step they don't have to." World Vision has already helped millions of people rise up in the face of poverty, and will only continue to help millions of more as the years go by and they continue to expand their following and regard people as created and loved by God, give priority to people over money, and respect and the dignity and uniqueness of every single person and culture. With the World Vision as the World Vision 6K continues to grow, and if the World 6K continues to grow the same rate every year, the world's water crisis will be solved within our lifetime, and every child will have an increased chance at a better life, education, hygiene, and sanitation.
So, Anissa, what did you think?
I thought she did really well. It was like a clear preview, and her speech was really organized. She was really knowledgeable about what she was talking about. And her visuals throughout the presentation were like constant, and they were related to all of her major points. I thought she could have made a little bit more eye contact. And I feel like in the beginning, I didn't hear citations, but I'm assuming it was from the organization's website. And then she had the one citation at the end, and then she like wrapped everything up really nicely.
Okay. Well, I like the rhetorical question at the beginning, and I think you need to be a little bit more prepared when you're starting off so that you can address us directly. You've got a very good justification for the subject when you talk about the number of kids who are dying every day. I do think that you introduce the subject really well. You identify what your goal is. There's a solid preview in the speech. So except for the delivery part of the introduction, I think you're doing a solid job there. You're doing the kind of stuff that you need to do in the introduction. The content, I'm sort of in the same situation. I think that most of your material probably comes from World Vision, but none of it ever gets cited. We got the 2 quotes toward the end, one from Hugh Jackman and one from, I love this guy's name, Rusty Funk. That sounds like he's talking about the water that those kids got, But the idea here is that I think you need to kind of tell us a little bit more about where the information is coming from. The historical context is interesting, and everything is chronological up to a particular point. And then after that, I didn't think that you were as clear in the structure of your speech as you set up in the preview, and it just felt a little bit like the material just sort of flowed on without necessarily having any stopping points or signposts along the way. And I'll remember some of it, but it would probably work a little bit better if it was structured more in the body of the speech. And I like, there was one section where you finally did talk about the 6K, and it felt really abrupt when you got to it. There's a visual that comes along with it, and you make a reference to that topic. So you did identify that section, but we need some transition language for that. So that's workable stuff. That's just mechanics there. The visuals, you got lots of images. They're good large pictures. A couple of them seem repetitive, but I didn't think that there was anything that was problematic about any of those things. The two things that I think you need to do a little bit more on, one is that you need to have the images strongly connect to the point that you're talking about. It wasn't until halfway through the speech that I recalled the point that you made at the beginning of the speech about how far the kids have to walk every day. And I'm going, well, is that connected to why they pick 6K for the walk that they're doing? Usually you have like a 5K or 10K, and you've got the 6K. And I'm going, I'll bet there's and then it dawned on me, I'll bet that's kind of like supposed to be symbolic of the walk that the kids make every day to get the water. And I'm having to figure that out. That should be something that you should be kind of telling us. And I think it's there, but it's not made explicit. And you need to do those kinds of things a little bit more for people. There's font on one of those slides that's a little funky, and maybe it was created by Rusty. I'm not exactly sure, but it's the second slide where there's just script on it. There's no pictures, and there's something about that font that is, I'm not sure if it comes from a website that you got it, or you just decided, hey, that looks kind of interesting. So that's a little bit, I would have changed that and made it simpler. That's me. Maybe everybody else liked it a lot. They can use it in giving their band a name and putting it on their logo. All right, now the one thing I got to yell at you about a little bit, and we haven't emphasized this a huge amount, but this is exactly the kind of thing that's a problem. You don't look at the audience at all. When Anissa was telling you, we could use a little bit more eye contact, I'm thinking, no. A lot more eye contact. You just look down and read the whole time. And there are 25 people sitting here listening to what you're talking about. I think they're probably interested in that, and you want to connect with them. You're talking about something that's heartfelt, that you think is important, that it's clearly designed to help kids, and you're just reading it. There's a disconnect between what you want us to feel and what you're telling us you feel. And I think that's something that you got to work on. Remember, I told you guys repeatedly that there's a content dimension and a relational dimension, and you've got the content pretty well here. The relational dimension is what you've got to work on. You've got to treat us as if we are a part of this process, that you want to pull us in a little bit on that. And that requires that you talk to us a little bit. I know you're nervous, and I know you're anxious, and you want to get your information right. But if people won't be affected if you don't connect with them, it'll just be something that they heard instead of something that they experienced, something that they can relate to. And you want to turn it into something that they can relate to. All right, thank you.